For 32 years, I kept every promise I made to my dying wife, raised our daughter alone, gave her everything. Then one Tuesday afternoon, my daughter forgot to hang up the phone, and I heard her tell her husband exactly how much my life was worth to her. Turns out it was £320,000, the price of my house. But what I discovered 6 months later, that changed everything. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us today at True Experience. If this story resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to stay connected with more real-life tales of betrayal and justice. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. We love hearing from our community across the UK, Canada, and around the world. Quick note, names have been changed for privacy, but the events you're about to hear are real. This is my story. My name is Edward, though that's not what I go by anymore. I'm 63 years old. I raised my daughter alone after my wife died, and I never thought the person I sacrificed everything for would be the one to take it all away. I especially never thought I'd discover she wasn't even mine to begin with. My wife, Ivy, died when our daughter Claire was only 7. Pneumonia. She'd been weak for years in and out of hospital, but that winter finished her. I was 31 then, working 2 jobs to keep the mortgage paid and food on the table. I didn't remarry, didn't even date. I told myself Claire needed stability, needed a father who was present, so I stayed present. I worked construction during the day and drove a taxi 3 nights a week. I missed sleep. I missed friends. I missed having a life of my own. But I never missed her school plays, her parent-teacher meetings, her soccer games. I was there, always. When she went to university, I took out loans I couldn't afford. When she graduated and couldn't find work right away, I let her live at home rent-free for 2 years. When she met David, I paid for half their wedding even though he never once looked me in the eye when we shook hands. I'm not saying this for sympathy. I'm saying it because it's what fathers do. You don't keep score. You don't ask for anything back. You just give. About 3 years ago, I started slowing down. Nothing serious. Just age catching up. My knees hurt from decades of construction work. My back ached in the mornings. I retired at 60, took my pension, and settled into a house I'd owned for 32 years. It wasn't much. A 3-bedroom bungalow in a decent neighborhood. But it was mine. Paid off. Worth about £320,000, maybe more. Claire started visiting more often after I retired. At first, I thought she was just being a good daughter. She'd bring groceries, ask how I was feeling, stay for tea. But then the comments started. Dad, this house is too big for you. Dad, what if you fall and no one's here? Dad, don't you think it's time to think about your future? I brushed it off. I was 60, not 90. I could still mow my own lawn, cook my own meals, drive to the shops. I didn't need looking after, but she kept pushing. David started coming with her. He'd walk through the house, hands in his pockets, eyes wandering over the furniture, the walls, the garden, like he was measuring it. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Claire called to check in, like she'd been doing more frequently. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. Nothing important. How was I feeling? Had I eaten the usual? Then she said she had to go. Love you, Dad. Love you too, sweetheart. I waited for the click. It never came. Instead, I heard rustling. Footsteps. Then her voice again, but different now. Sharper. David, he's getting worse. Did you see him last week? He forgot where he put his glasses. My stomach tightened. I hadn't forgotten. They were on the table the whole time. David's voice came through, muffled. So what's the plan? We move forward with Meadowbrook. I already spoke to the director. They have a spot opening up next month. We get him in there, get power of attorney sorted, and the house is ours. We can rent out or sell it. Either way, we're talking $300,000 minimum. I stopped breathing. And he's just going to go along with it? David asked. Claire laughed. It wasn't a laugh I remembered from when she was a girl. It was cold. He will if we do it right. We tell him it's temporary, just until he gets stronger. We'll say it's for his own safety. He won't fight us. He never does. The old fool gave me everything my whole life. Why would he stop now? I sat there, phone still pressed in my ear as they kept talking. About selling my furniture. About how quickly they could get the house on the market. About how I'd never even know what hit me. Then, finally, the line went dead. I didn't call her back. I didn't confront her. I just sat there in my kitchen as the light faded outside, staring at the walls I'd painted myself, the floor I'd laid with my own hands. For 3 days, I didn't eat. Didn't sleep much either. I kept replaying it in my head, trying to make it mean something else. But it didn't. There was no misunderstanding. My daughter wanted me gone, and not because she was worried, because I was in the way. She called twice that week. I let it ring. On the third call, I answered. She sounded cheerful. Dad, I've been thinking, why don't David and I take you to visit a lovely care home this weekend? Just to have a look. No pressure. I'm fine here, Claire. I know, but just in case. For the future. Humor me? I said I'd think about it. I hung up, and then I started digging. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop thinking. So one night, I went up into the loft. Ivy's old boxes were still there. Things I'd never had the heart to go through properly. Letters. Photos. Documents. I found her diary tucked inside a hat box. Brown leather, worn at the edges. I'd never read it before. It felt like a violation. But something pulled me to open it. Most of it was ordinary. Daily routines. Thoughts about Claire. Worries about money. But then I found an entry from March 1993. 2 months before Claire was born. I don't know how to tell Edward. I don't think I ever can. He's such a good man. He deserves better than this. But I was lonely, and Richard was there, and now I'm carrying his child. Edward thinks she's his. I'll let him keep thinking that. He'll be a better father than Richard ever could be. I read it 3 times. Richard, her cousin, the one who'd moved to Australia when Claire was a baby, the one who'd sent money sometimes, who Ivy had always said was just being kind. I sat in that loft until sunrise, that diary in my hands, my whole life rewritten in a few sentences. Claire wasn't mine. She'd never been mine. 32 years. 32 years of sacrifice, of love, of giving everything I had for someone else's child, for a woman who'd lied to me every single day until she died. I didn't confront Claire. Not yet. First, I needed proof. I contacted a private investigator. Found Richard in Perth. He was still alive, 71, married with 2 sons. The investigator approached him carefully, said he was helping with a genealogy project. Richard, apparently drunk at the time, confirmed everything, laughed about it, even said Ivy had been a bit of fun, and he'd always wondered about the kid, but never wanted the responsibility. The investigator got on recording. Next, I ordered a DNA test. Sent my sample and requested Claire's through a genealogy website under a fake account. It took 3 weeks. 0% match. Not my daughter. Not even close. I sat with that information for 2 weeks. Part of me wanted to bury it. Pretend I'd never found out. But then I remembered her voice on that phone. The old fool gave me everything my whole life. So I called my solicitor, Martin. 2 weeks later, Claire and David showed up unannounced with brochures. Glossy photos of smiling old people in armchairs, reading books, playing chess. Meadowbrook Care Home. We've already put down a deposit, Dad, Claire said, sitting across from me at my own kitchen table. You're moving in 10 days. I looked at her. Really looked. I wanted to see something, any trace of Ivy, of me, of anything familiar. But all I saw was a stranger. I'm not going, I said quietly. David leaned forward. Edward, be reasonable. You can't manage here alone. Claire's worried. No, she's not. I pulled out my phone, set it on the table between us. Press play. Her voice filled the kitchen. The old fool gave me everything my whole life. Why would he stop now? The color drained from her face. David sat back, eyes wide. You were listening? You didn't hang up, I said. I heard everything. She tried to recover. Stammered something about being taken out of context, about how I didn't understand. But I held up my hand. I've changed my will, Claire. The house isn't yours. It never will be. She stood up, shaking. You can't do that. I'm your daughter. I reached into the folder beside me, pulled out the DNA results, slid them across the table. No, I said, you're not. The room went silent. She picked up the paper, hands trembling. Read it. Read it again. What is this? It's the truth, I said. Your mother had an affair. Your real father is a man named Richard, living in Perth. I've spent 32 years raising another man's child, thinking you were mine, giving you everything, and you repay me by trying to steal my home. David grabbed her arm, but she jerked away. You're lying, she whispered. I pulled out Ivy's diary, opened it to the page, pushed it toward her. She read it. I watched her face change. Shock, denial, then something else. Something like relief. So what? She said finally, voice hard. You raised me. You're still responsible. I said, but I'm not anymore. You're not in my will. The house goes to a charity. I've already arranged it. And there's more. I pulled out the last document, a letter I'd had Martin draft. I'm suing you for elder abuse, attempted fraud, coercion. I've got recordings, witnesses, documentation. You try to have me declared incompetent to steal my assets. That's illegal, Claire. Or should I call you by your real father's name? Claire Mitchell? Her face went white. You wouldn't. I already have, I said. The case is filed. You'll be hearing from my solicitor. David pulled her toward the door. She looked back once, face twisted in rage, but she didn't say anything. They left. I sat there in silence, staring at those documents, feeling nothing. That was 6 months ago. The lawsuit went through. Claire didn't have the money to fight it properly, and the recordings were damning. She was ordered to pay £15,000 in damages and legal fees. Had to sell her car to cover it. She tried reaching out to Richard. He wanted nothing to do with her. I heard through Martin that she and David separated 3 months ago. The stress, apparently. She's living in a rented flat now, working 2 jobs. I don't feel good about it, but I don't feel bad either. The house is quiet now. I had the locks changed, put up a security camera. Some nights I sit in the kitchen and think about Ivy, about the life I thought I had. 32 years of my life were built on a lie. I gave everything to a child who wasn't mine, to a woman who betrayed me. And in the end, that child tried to take the only thing I had left. Last week, I got a call from Richard's solicitor in Australia. Apparently, Richard died 2 months ago. Heart attack. And in his will, he'd left a note acknowledging Claire as his biological daughter. But here's the twist. Richard had no estate. He died broke with debts. And under Australian law, his biological children are liable for a portion of those debts if they choose to acknowledge the inheritance. Claire received a letter last Tuesday. £23,000 in debt, attached to a father she never knew, from a man who laughed about her existence. She called me, first time in months. Dad, Edward, I don't know what to do. I let the silence sit for a moment. That's not my problem anymore, Claire. I said, you made it very clear I'm not your father, so handle it yourself. And I hung up. I'm 63 years old. I've got a few good years left, I think. Maybe more, maybe less. I still live in this house. I take care of it. I take care of myself. Some days are hard. I think about the girl I thought was mine, the one I rocked to sleep, the one who called me Dad. But then I remember she was never real. None of it was. The house will go to a children's charity when I die. Kids who actually need it, who won't throw people away when they become inconvenient. I don't regret what I did. I protected myself. I took back what was mine. And I made sure she understood betrayal has a cost. If you're watching this and you got aging parents, remember something. They're not in your way. They're not obstacles. They're people. People who gave you everything when you had nothing. Don't wait until it's too late to treat them that way. And if you're someone who's been lied to, used, betrayed by the people you loved most, you're not alone. You have the right to protect yourself. You have the right to walk away. Thanks for listening. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment and let me know. Have you ever discovered a truth that changed everything? I'd like to know I'm not alone in this. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.